Hello everybody, my name is Sahil and today we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is the National Education Policy 2020, and it is going to be a very important topic because this is the biggest educational reform that has came in India in last 34 years. But before going into this new policy, a fundamental question arises that what would have been the need to bring a new educational policy? And to answer this thing, I would like to share one small incident. So, guys, once upon a time, there was a kid, he was in 5th standard, and he was preparing very hard for his English examination. And from somewhere, he got to know that into the exam, a choice based essay will be coming. Now, the teacher gave them two essays. One essay was on friend, and other essay was on father. Now, he mugged up one essay, that was the essay on the friend. But on to the day of exam, what happened? In the exam, only one essay was asked, and that too, the essay on the father. Now, somehow he managed to write the essay. But how essay turned out? Essay was something like this. I am a very fatherly person. I have a lot of fathers. Some of my fathers are male, some of my fathers are female. My mother is also very close to a lot of my fathers. In fact, my uncle is also my father. But my true father lives in my neighborhood. I love all of my fathers because at the end of the day, हर एक father जरूरी होता है. Now you tell me, do you think that this is the situation of the one student? Rather, this is the situation of almost all the students studying in the schools, and this shows the problem with our education system. Our education system has turned to rote learning, crude memorization of facts, and an absurd fascination with just the marks or the grades. The present education system is not concerned with instilling the real life skills, analytical thinking into the students. And now, the new education policy, that is the National Education Policy 2020, aims to unwind all these problems onto the education sector. Though it is very soon to tell whether it will be fulfilling all this or not, but the ambitions or the things which have been given, they are very good. And now let's take the analysis of the new educational policy 2020. Now, first of all, if we see the evolution of education policy in India, this is the third education policy that we will be having. For the first time, education policy came in 1968. After that, the second education policy came in 1986, which was amended in 1992. And now we will be having the third education policy in 2020. Now, this newest policy is based on to the recommendations given by the Kasturi Rangan Committee. In fact, guys, just for the diversity of opinions, there was earlier one more committee which was constituted, and that was the TSR Subramaniam Committee. So, in a nutshell, both of these committees' inputs have been there into this new education policy. Now, guys, see, I will be dividing this in two phases. One is the reforms for the school education, and the second are the reforms for the higher education. Now, first of all, discussing about the school education reforms. Guys, you no need to write each and everything that I will be discussing here. You just focus onto the video. Notes of all these things have been provided into the PDF format at our Telegram channel. You can directly download it from there. The link has been provided into the description. Now, guys, the PPT which I am showing you here is the PPT of Ministry of HRD. So whatever information has been given here, you don't need to go outside from this entire thing. Now, guys, starting up, see, the first thing which has been focused here is about the universalization. Now, guys, universalization means that every child should have the primary education, and in this particular direction it has been said that by 2030 the gross enrollment ratio of 100% will be achieved. Now, guys, what actually we are doing, we are aligning our education policy with the sustainable developmental goals, because under the sustainable developmental goal number 4, there are different targets, and target number 1 in SDG 4 talks about the GER of 100% by 2030. So that thing has been talked here. Then, guys, the next thing here is that the early childhood care education will also be focused. Now coming on this particular point, guys, see, it has been said by a lot of research and epidemiological studies that 90 to 95% development of the brain, it happens till the age of 5. And our education policies earlier, their focus started after the age of 6 years. Even into the article number 21A of the fundamental rights, primary education from 6 years to 14 years have been focused. So guys, what about these foundational years? So that thing has been corrected here in this policy, and now guys, the focus from 3 year onwards will be started. I will show you that thing also. So early childhood care and education is being focused. Then guys, coming on to the next point, it has been said that the national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy will also be taken up. I'll just give you one reference. You might have heard that annual status of education report by the Pratham NGO comes, and according to the ASAR report of 2019, it has been said that only 16% of the children in class 1 can read their class text. More than 40% of the children can't even recognize what is written into their text. So guys, the condition is very bad. Learning outcomes are very bad. Why? Because children lack basic numeracy as well as reading skills. So in this particular direction, this mission will be started. Now guys, it will be designed by the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, and it will be implemented by the state governments. Responsibility will be the state governments. And here it has been said that by 2025, all the children up to class 3 should have basic literacy and numeracy skills. So all these things have been said here. Then guys, next, the most important highlight of the policy is the introduction of the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curriculum, which will replace the present system, that is the 10 plus 2. Now guys, right now we have 10 plus 2, in which there are two divisions, that is the primary and the secondary education. But now all this thing will be going away. Now if you remember earlier, I told you that the early childhood care and education will be focused. So where it will be accommodated? It will be accommodated into the new regime. I'll explain how. So guys, the first component, that is first 5 years, here the children between the age group of 3 to 8 years will be focused, and this first 5 year, it will be divided in two parts. First 3 years, children will be provided the preschool education in either the preschool institutions maintained by the state or into the Anganwadi schools. And here the specialized teachers, they will be enhancing the cognitive skills of the students so that the lifelong learning can be made much more effective. Then guys, the next 2 years, it will be constituted by class first and class second. Then next 3. So guys, here the children between the age group of 8 to 11 year, from class 3rd to 5th will be focused. Then next 3, here the children from age group of 11 to 14 years up to class 8th will be focused. And next 4, here children from 14 to 18 years and class 9th to 12th will be focused. So guys, this is the structure which has been changed, and internally also a lot of things have been changed. Now guys, as I've told you earlier that the early age children, they have special requirement. So for them a special syllabus or a curriculum will be designed, and that is the National Curricular and Pedagogical Framework for Early Childhood Care and Education. And this framework will be designed by the NCERT, and so that it reflects the need of the children, various other ministries will also be involved. And here in making this framework, the Ministry of HRD, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and Ministry of Tribal Affairs will be made involved so that a wholesome attention could be given. So guys, this is here. After that guys, for the other children, that is from class 3rd to 12th also, a revised curricular will be brought, and for them the national curricular framework for school education will be installed, which will be focusing on to the critical thinking, essential learning, and they will be even given the choice of subjects here, so that they can be much more suited to the 21st century needs. So guys, entire syllabus and everything has been changed here. After that guys, coming to the next point. So next point is that we have seen the curriculum will integrate 21st century requirements. Then there will be no rigid separation between the art, commerce, the humanities, sciences. The choice will be given. If you want to read the diverse subjects, you will be allowed. Much more combinations of subjects will be provided into the schools. Then guys, after that, the focus will be made onto the education of the gifted children. Children who have some learning disabilities or other kind of disabilities, on them the focus will also be made, and in this particular direction special teachers will be hired, and they will be trained into the cross disabilities, so that the learning gap and teaching gap is not there between the teacher and the student. Moreover guys, the technology will be used to provide the assistance into the children, so that they can learn better. Then guys, see, there has always been the problem that in our school system the dropout rates for the girls is very much high, and to improve that particular thing, a specific gender inclusion fund will be installed, which will be looking the problems specific to the girls, and the funds can be devoted. For example, there is the problem of the toilets, there is the problem of unhygienic toilets if they are there, so all these things will be rectified by this kind of fund. After that guys, the next important reform that is coming is the vocational integration from class 6th onwards. It means that children, they will be taught life skills. Even the coding will be taught to the students after the class 6th onwards. Obviously, there will be the other vocations also, for example, carpentry, for example, welding and all these kind of things. Now guys, this particular point has been criticized as well as has been praised. So a praise or a positive thing is that by this, see, there is a problem that we have the educated but not the skilled ones. So it will solve that problem. A person will be educated and the skilled. But the negative of this is that it will lead to the problem of the blue collarization. So guys, blue collarization means that from very early age, the children will be pushed into these kind of vocations. They will leave their studies and will involve into these kind of things. So problem of blue collarization could be there. However guys, we need to see how this thing will be responding. Now guys, the next change which is coming is with respect to the board examination. First of all guys, the board for the 10th and the 12th class will be staying there, but the orientation of the exams will be changing. Number one, the marks into the board exams will not be everything to determine the child's future. The board marks will be of low stakes. Secondly, into the board exams, a question not only onto the basis of mugging or factual cramming will be asked. Rather, questions nature will be of the practical application of the concepts which have already been learned. Moreover, guys, apart from the board exams, see, for the children of class 3rd, 5th, and 8th, there will be the assessments. Assessments will see whether the actual cognitive development is coming or not, whether the learning outcomes which were desired by the NEP 2020, they are being instilled or not. And for that assessment, a setting standard agency will be established, which will be called as the PARAK. So PARAK stands for the Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. This body will be seeing the results into the students' learning. So guys, this is one thing. Then with respect to the medium of instruction, it has been said that up to at least grade 5, the children should be given education into their local language or into the mother tongue. After that, guys, with respect to the medium of instruction, it has also been said that Sanskrit should also be offered at all the levels of education. So mother tongue up to 5th or local language. After that, Sanskrit should be offered. Then, guys, thirdly, it has been said that no language should be imposed on every children, on any of the children. He should be given the choice with respect to the languages. Moreover, it has also been said that some foreign languages will also be taught. So, guys, this is a kind of a middle ground, as earlier there was the three language formula, which was mired into a lot of controversy. A lot of South Indian states were saying that they don't want that Hindi should be imposed on them. So here it has been said that by up to class 5th, you can learn into your mother tongue. After 5th, you will be getting an option. If you want, you can take it. Otherwise, you can leave it. So guys, this is the entire thing. And as we can see, it will lead to 360-degree holistic progress of the child, all these things which has been taken. Now guys, as the school education will finish, how you will go into the higher education, and for that particular thing, it has been said that a national testing agency will be established, and this will be the one body which will be regulating the admissions to the higher education. So this is a one very good thing. Now after this, coming to next very important thing which has been done. See, teachers are the ones who are responsible for shaping the entire future of the nation, but you will be finding that most of them are kind of dissatisfied with the job. They are lacking morale, and many a times they are not having a skill that how they can simplify a topic and can imbibe that knowledge into the students. So guys, it is high time that the teacher education and teacher training should also be focused. Though earlier there have been initiatives in this particular regard, but they have been not that very much successful. So now dedicatedly there will be the national professional standards for teachers, and these standards will be developed by the National Council for Teachers Education. Now guys, these standards will help them to evaluate the teachers from time to time with respect to the skill set that they are having, more skill sets that are needed, and how they can be imbibed. Moreover, guys, the recruitment training of the teachers will also be prescribed into the form of the standards where NCTE will be working. So guys, this is a very good initiative in order to secure the teaching standards in our country. After that, guys, there is book promotion policy and digital libraries. So I have told you, if you remember, that basic numeracy and literacy skills are to be imbibed. So in that particular direction, a book promotion policy and digital resource of libraries will be helping to ignite a kind of an interest into the students, so that they can venture into the learning of numeracy and literary skills. So guys, this is here. Then the last is the transparent online self-disclosure. All the schools need to upload their reports with respect to the targets in the teaching outcomes that were expected and what they actually achieved in this direction. So guys, these are the comprehensive and broad-based reforms which will be coming into the school education. Now, apart from this, there are a couple of other things which I would like to tell. See guys, there are socially and economically disadvantaged groups, and these are the groups which have very high dropout rates. So in order to help them, government will be coming with the special education zone. As we have a special economic zone for the economic activities, special education zones will be there, which will be established into the disadvantaged region, and will specially be they will be serving to the people belonging to the socially and economically disadvantaged group. So this SCZ is also very good point in this particular direction. Fine guys, so this is all about the educational reforms for the school education, and now guys, we will move to the reforms for the higher education sector. So guys, these are the higher education reforms. Number one reform again here we can see is with respect to the gross enrollment ratio, and by 2035 the deadline is not 30, 35. We need to achieve the 50% gross enrollment rate. Now guys, at present the gross enrollment rate is 26.3% as of 2018. But the problem could be there that we don't have enough number of colleges and higher educational institutions that we can accommodate such large pool of people. So therefore guys, it has also been said that 3.5 crore additional seats will also be arranged into the higher educational institutions so that this particular thing can be achieved. Then guys, the next and the most important reform which has been taken till now is the multidisciplinary approach and the flexibility. So here there are broadly two things which are going to be carried. Now guys, first of all, see, earlier if I was doing a degree of 4 years and I have just completed 2 years, I will not be getting anything at the end of the day. But now this thing will be changed. I will give you one example. Suppose there was a 4-year course and a person completed just 1 year. Then after 1 year, he can exit from the university or from the institution and he will be given a certificate for that particular thing, and on basis of this certificate, he can apply for a job. Secondly, suppose he completed 2 years, then after 2 years, he will be given an advanced diploma and on that basis, he can take the job. Suppose he completed 3 years, so after 3 years, he can get a degree. And suppose he completed all the 4 years, he will get a degree plus the research certificate. So guys, even if you exit prematurely, it will not be a waste. Moreover guys, see what will be done there. Suppose I did 1 year from X college, then I completed 1 more year from Y college, then I completed another 1 year from W college, and all these colleges were giving education in different fields. Some college was giving me education for architecture, some college was giving fashion management and all these kind of things. So what will be happening? 3 institutions I will be having the 3 certificates, and all these credits will be deposited, will be transferable, and there even will be an academic bank of credits where the history, the credits generated will be stored and can be accessed by the student into the times of need or by an employer when the student applies. So guys, this is the concept of multiple entry exit along with the academic bank of credits. One more thing which is coming, as I was talking about flexibility, that thing is that guys, as in US, if you are going for a higher education course, you can have certain subjects as your major, certain subjects as your minor. It is not a rigidity that if you are going for medicine, only medicine you need to read, or if you are into the law, only law you need to read. So here also the students can get a customized course. They can choose subjects according to their own interest, and much more flexibility will be given, and therefore guys, a kind of an interest will be developed into the students, and this interest will help in achieving the gross enrollment ratio of higher category. So guys, flexibility, multiple entry exit, all these things have been given along with the bank of credit. Then guys, after that, see, higher educational institutions will be given orientation on to the basis of purpose. See, there could be the research intensive or teaching intensive universities where the student will go only if they have a purpose to go for the deeper studies, for the higher studies, or for the research. But there are certain students who might not be that much interested into the higher research, but they might be interested into the employment. So for those employment seeking students, there will also be the autonomous degree granting colleges which will be working on that orientation. Moreover guys, the institutions will be now be given more autonomy, will be given more financial resources so that they can achieve the purpose which has been given into the new education policy of 2020. Now moving further, so guys, there will also be the establishment of the model multidisciplinary education and research university. What they will be doing, see, these will be established onto the global standard so that they can teach or they can set examples of the best practices which can be followed by the colleges and universities. Guys, you know that into the world ranking, our higher education institutions rank very low. So on to that particular front, this model institution will be imbibing the best practices into the educational institutes. So guys, this is here. Now looking to more reforms. See, there will also be the system of the graded autonomy we had earlier talked, and the most important thing which is coming is the phasing out of affiliation system. Now the colleges, they have to get affiliation from a university, and even if you are reading into a college, you will be getting the degree of that university. This system will be going to end, and the colleges will be giving their own degree, and this affiliation system will be ended in coming 15 years. This is a very good thing. Then guys, next is the national mission on mentoring. See, there are, as I told you, that we need the teacher training. So there are very good teachers who are now retiring or they have already retired, but they also have very rich experience. So it has been said that their experience will be utilized. The teachers from the senior positions, they will be asked to mentor the young teachers. So there will be the national mission on mentoring. Okay guys, then going forward, see, there is also one very important development with respect to the regulator. Now it has been said that there will be the Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, and this will be regulating all the institutions except the legal and medicine ones. And within HECI, there will be 4 departments. So guys, the first will be the National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Its work with this department will be working for the regulation. Second is the General Education Council. Then the third one is the Higher Education Grants Council. This will be working just like the UGC. And the fourth one will be the National Accreditation Council to give recognition to the institutes. So these will be the 4 departments under the HECI. So consolidation is being talked about here in this particular initiative. Then guys, it has been said that the private colleges, they need to give the self disclosure, and there will be the transparent system into the private institutes, whether they are abiding by all the things, whether they have all the approvals or not. So guys, this is happening there. Then there will be the common norms, same standard for the public institution as well as private institutions with respect to the fee fixation, regulatory regime, and all these kind of things. And guys, finally, here we can see the public investment into the education sector will be going to 6% of GDP. Though we are talking this for so long, but now again it has been reaffirmed, and there could be a positive development in this particular light again. Then guys, moving forward to the next set of reforms. Now here, it has been proposed that the National Research Foundation will be made. Now guys, in India, there is a very there are institutions and universities, research is not there, due to which even into the global patent race, there are very less number of patents filed by the Indian universities. So in order to promote the research, there will be the National Research Foundation, which will foster research in the higher educational institutions, will provide them with the grants, roadmap, blueprint. In all of these areas, it will be assisting. Then guys, there is also internationalization of education, and internationalization of education will be carried by 4 ways. Number 1, the renowned global universities, they will be asked that they can open their campus in India. Then there will be the student mobility program, student exchange program. There will be third, teacher exchange program or teacher mobility program. And fourth, international collaborations will be there into the universities, so that they can work as how internationalization can be achieved. So this is very good. And guys, because of the factor of internationalization into the QS world ranking, Indian universities also suffer. So that particular thing will also be coming by this. Then guys, next is integration of vocational, teacher and professional education. So now there will be no courses research oriented, vocation oriented, training oriented. Such distinction will not be there now. Then guys, next important reform is multidisciplinary approach. So guys, it is being said that the standalone universities, for example, there is a dental college, it is teaching only the course of dentistry. Now this thing will not be there. One institution will be multidisciplinary, it will be providing a lot of courses so that the student within the institute have a flexibility to opt for the different subjects. So this multidisciplinary approach is very good. So standalone institutions will be diversified here. After that guys, special education zone we had already seen into the higher education also, and now very important one, the National Educational Technology Forum. So guys, see, we had seen that the technology has a lot of potential into the teaching, particularly after the arrival of Internet of Things. So this particular forum will be exploring that how technology can be utilized into the education sector so that education can be made much more interactive, can be made much more appealing to the masses. So this NETF is working into that particular thing. Moreover guys, it will also work as how technology should be used so that disabled people can get better accessibility, and in this regard it will be working. And guys, finally, it is also being said the government has history in changing names, so Ministry of HRD will be renamed as the Ministry of Education. So this thing will also be coming. Then guys, moving forward, now guys, here it has been said that the focus will be made on Indian literature and their scientific vocabulary. See this thing. Below you can see that the Indian Institution of Translation and Interpretation is being talked about. So guys, what is happening? See, Indian languages don't have the words or don't have the vocabulary for various modern things. For example, the medicinal vocabulary, the technological vocabulary. So it has been said that English words or the Latin words will be translated into their counterparts, such as into the Sanskrit or other things, and in that particular direction the languages will be enriched and students will be influenced so that they also go in learning into these Indian languages, because it will help us to make the brand of our own culture and all our languages. Then guys, the language faculties will also be enrobed, will also be hired so that they can assist into this particular direction. Then guys, cultural awareness of traditional art, there will also be the provision of artist in residence. So all these things will be working on to the front of the soft power. Then guys, use of technology, we had already seen the NEFT will be made and it will be working as how the kind of a disclosure with a minimum human interference of the colleges and the classrooms can be done. Administration, teaching, planning, all these things will be used by the help of technology. Then guys, one very important point is the Divyang friendly education softwares, because under the Accessible India campaign Sugam Bharat, we also talked that we need to make the public infrastructure, soft infrastructure, hard infrastructure accessible. So this particular thing will be helping in that particular direction. So guys, these are some things which are very important. Now just one thing, here we had the disadvantaged groups have been mentioned. So for disadvantaged group, there will be the National Scholarship Portal, which will be providing the free ships as well as scholarships to the people who are disadvantaged. For example, the people belonging to the socially disadvantaged groups as well as economically disadvantaged groups. And guys, last but not the least, there will also be focus on to the massive online open courses which had already been started, but now they will be emphasized even more. So guys, these are the reforms into the higher education sector which are being taken, and so this is the entire plethora of reforms. And guys, apart from this, I will recommend that don't read even one word, because that will not be necessary for this particular thing. Now, generally, there are certain criticisms which are also coming. In this particular direction, I would like to say two things. Number one, it is too soon to talk about criticisms because guys, till now not the actual text of NEP has been placed into the public domain, so we don't know what actual technicalities are involved there. Number two guys, there are criticisms and I will tell you. First criticism is that you remember we had talked that up to 5th class the education will be provided into the mother tongue or the local language. So there is a criticism that it will negate the status of English. See, in world, Indians have a peculiar place because of the command over the English language, and that thing will be going away. Second thing is that why national education policy was not debated into the parliament, and why without debate or without consultation it has been passed. So it has been said that it is a kind of an undemocratic in this particular direction, and even till now the NEP has not been placed. Why? So this is raising a suspicion. The third thing is this guys, there is so much talks but actual implementation aspect has not been that much focused about. Accountability is not that much fixed, that what if it only ends up into just a kind of a dream and nothing substantial is carried, where the accountability will lie. So guys, this is the all issues associated in this particular direction. I hope you had understood them all, and I hope that this session was fruitful to you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.